We ran a poll in one of the largest prepper communities online. Over 500 people voted. The question was simple. What would you barter in a real crisis? The results surprised us. The things that most prepper websites tell you to stockpile for trading, they finished dead last. What actually dominated the poll tells you something important about how serious preppers are thinking right now, and it is very different from the usual top 10 barter items content you have probably seen. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about the item that finished at the bottom, and why that result alone is worth paying attention to. Guns and ammunition. Nobody is saying firearms are not essential. Everyone in the poll agreed on that. But as a barter item, the community rejected it almost unanimously. The reasoning is straightforward once you hear it. Trading ammunition to someone you do not fully trust means you are potentially arming a future threat. In normal times, social norms keep people predictable. In a collapse, those norms erode fast. Trading a bag of rice to a stranger is a low-risk transaction. Trading a box of .223 rounds to a stranger is a completely different calculation. If things go sideways, you just contributed to the problem. Several commenters added another point. Ammunition is a consumable. It burns through one use and becomes a brass casing. For personal use, you cannot put a price on it. For trade, it is both finite and dangerous. Most experienced preppers said they would only trade ammo with people they already know and trust, and even then, only in a serious situation. That answer tells you something about how the prepper community has matured. The chest-thumping, ammo for everything mindset has given way to a more calculated view of actual risk. So if ammo is out, what won the poll by a wide margin? Seeds and growing supplies. And not just food seeds. The ability to grow food. That distinction matters more than it seems. A can of beans solves a problem for one day. A packet of heirloom tomato seeds solves a problem for a season, and heirloom seeds reproduce. You can plant them, harvest the plants, collect seeds from the fruits, and plant again next year. You can trade a handful of seeds today and still have a full garden tomorrow. You cannot say that about a bag of rice. Multiple commenters broke this down further and pointed out something the original poll did not even cover. Medicinal herb seeds are their own barter category entirely. When pharmacies are closed and supply chains are cut, herbs like chamomile, calendula, echinacea, yarrow, and valerian fill a gap that no amount of stockpiled canned goods ever will. A medicinal herb seed kit typically runs $15 to $30, includes at least 10 varieties, and stores just as long as vegetable seeds. If you only add one category to your stockpile after watching this video, this is the one. The deeper point here is about time horizons. Beginners think about surviving next week. Experienced preppers think about next year and the year after. Seeds are how you bridge that gap. Right behind seeds in the poll was skills and knowledge. But here is where the community comments added something that most prepper content never touches. Nobody mentioned combat tactics. Nobody said wilderness tracking. The skills preppers actually said they want to trade for are boring, practical, and immediately verifiable. Basic medical care topped the list. Wound stitching, infection treatment, even tooth extraction. If you can stitch a wound and it heals cleanly, word gets around. That reputation becomes your currency. Mechanical repair was second. Small engines, water pumps, generators. Everything that keeps the basics running when there are no parts stores or repair shops. Third was clothing and shoe repair. Patching, sewing, resoling. Skills that almost nobody under 50 has and that everyone will need eventually. Animal husbandry came up repeatedly. Birthing, feeding, butchering. Skills that are hard to fake and produce results people can see. And food preservation rounded out the top 5. Smoking, curing, canning, fermenting. One commenter added something genuinely worth hearing. She said she had been planning to trade her bread making and soap making skills, but then admitted that a lot of people in her area were afraid of homemade soap, and plenty already owned bread machines. She said she was now actively looking for a skill that would actually be in demand in her specific community. That comment is worth more than 100 listicles, because barter does not happen in a vacuum. You are trading with specific people in your specific community. If nobody around you wants what you are offering, it does not matter how useful it is in theory. The through line on all the high-value skills is this: they are hard to learn quickly, they produce results people can immediately verify, and they cannot be stolen. You can take someone's seed supply, you cannot take their knowledge. Now let's talk about the trust problem, because this is the part of barter planning that almost nobody discusses honestly. One commenter in the poll broke his barter strategy into 3 tiers based on who he was trading with. For trustworthy neighbors, he said he would trade food and supplies freely. For people in his broader community, he would consider adding ammunition to the table. For someone trying to start a new government structure, he said they could have his gold and silver in exchange for real survival goods. That last part is the one that flips the standard gold and silver prepper narrative. He is not saying precious metals are worthless. He is saying their value depends entirely on whether society is stable enough to agree they have value. In the immediate aftermath of a collapse, that agreement does not exist. History backs this up directly. During the Great Depression, cigarettes became the default currency for small trades because they were divisible, addictive, and immediately consumable. Gold and silver traded at a fraction of their pre-crisis value because you could not eat them, and the people who had food to spare did not need them. Venezuela's collapse showed the same pattern more recently. People were standing in line for flour and cooking oil. They were not trading gold bars for groceries. The people who fared best had tangible skills and tangible goods that solved tangible problems right now, not abstract stores of value that depended on a functioning economy to have meaning. Gold only begins to reassert value weeks or months into a crisis, once some sense of a longer-term economy starts to reform. If you are holding precious metals, that is a legitimate long-term wealth preservation strategy. Just do not mistake it for a short-term survival tool. Here is the myth the prepper internet keeps getting wrong. Most online barter articles will tell you to fill a closet with Bic lighters, mini whiskey bottles, and cigarette cartons. Some of those things have marginal trade value, but the experienced preppers in this poll are not building a post-apocalyptic convenience store in their garage. They are thinking about who they know, who they trust, and what they can do that nobody else on their street can do. A box of lighters gets you through one trade negotiation. Knowing how to build a clay oven that can feed an entire street gives you a seat at the table for as long as the crisis lasts. Someone who can set a broken bone, deliver a calf, fix a water pump, or turn raw meat into jerky that lasts 6 months will never run out of people willing to trade with them. And here is the thing about skills that none of the convenience store barter plans can match. You cannot use up a skill. You cannot have it stolen out of a shed. You cannot fake it. Every time you use it, you produce something real and verify your value again. So what should you actually be doing right now? 3 things came out of this poll clearly. First, learn a real skill that solves a physical problem. Medical knowledge tops the list. If you can clean, stitch, and dress a wound, you are more valuable than someone sitting on 100 ounces of silver. Second tier, mechanical repair, small-scale food preservation, water filtration, and animal care. Pick one. Get genuinely good at it. Practice on real projects, not just YouTube tutorials. Second, build a seed library. Buy heirloom seeds and varieties suited to your specific climate zone. Store them properly in sealed mylar bags with oxygen absorbers and silica gel in a cool, dark location. More importantly, start gardening now before you need to. A seed vault means nothing if you have never put one in soil. Knowing how to grow things is the skill. The seeds are just the starting point. Third, map your community. Know your neighbors. Know what they can do, what they have, and what they are going to need. The commenter who broke bartering into trust tiers had it exactly right. Who you are trading with matters as much as what you are trading. Build those relationships before you need them. Barter does not start when the grid goes down. It starts with knowing the person across the table well enough to trust them. The real takeaway from this poll is not a shopping list. It is a mindset shift. The experienced preppers who participated are not stacking physical goods and waiting for someone to need them. They are building capabilities that produce value continuously in ways that cannot be depleted or taken, that strengthen rather than expose them. Your best barter asset is not sitting in a bucket somewhere. It is in your hands and between your ears. If this was useful, hit subscribe. We put out practical preparedness content every week, no fluff. And drop a comment below. What skill are you building right now? Or what do you think would be the most valuable trade in your specific area? The community discussion on this one is worth having. Stay ready.